Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern. I'm your host, Dante.
I'm your host, Deacon.
Thanks for being here. Welcome
Yeah,
to episode 4. So, last night was pretty fun.
yeah, it was.
We,
Got our
we,
butt kicked by the Chaos Warriors.
yeah, we did. Well, you did. You guys did.
Yeah,
Zargon didn't. And we'll come back around. We'll talk about that in just a minute. I was talking mainly about the stream.
yeah.
We
Probably
had
pretty well.
the most viewers we've had on there so far last night, and had a whole lot of folks actively engaged in the
Yeah,
chat.
it was great.
That was fantastic to be able to see familiar names that we knew. We know the faces behind the names, and have some live chat with them about everything that was going on and what we did the last weekend. So a couple things I just wanted to give a shout out to right away. A couple people was Griffin. I
Yeah,
wanted to thank Griffin personally
definitely.
for coming on and being our very first special guest.
It was awesome. Yeah,
And we'll talk. Like I said, he came on and he played a game with us, and I'll do a little bit of a recap about that in just a minute. But also Matt, I want to thank Matt for coming on all the way from California and tuning in. That was really awesome to see. Chris was on again. I think Chris is getting addicted to the show, which is not a bad thing. And Aaron was on,
yeah,
so thanks again, Aaron, for stopping in and chatting with us. And Paraj, and it was really great to see Paraj on here as well. And I had mentioned I'm really hoping to get Alex on here. And for those of you who might be out there watching, Alex is he's another fellow Twitch streamer who goes by the handle Mr. Whiskas. So if you're out there and you're looking for another really cool gamer channel to watch, tune in and check him out.
yeah,
So, last night, basically, we did things a little bit different. We did the game last night. We did from the Battle Zone last night instead of from the Workbench. And we'll be doing the broadcast from the Workbench tonight in the second half of our stream. But yeah, it was definitely cool to get out Hero Quest. That's what we broke out last night. And it was fun to rerun that and
it
to
was.
look at the rules again. And
To play it
it,
again after however many 5 years.
yeah,
The
yeah, I
last
think
time we
that's the
played it
last
was.
time we played it. I ran it for
It's
you,
been a
and
while.
yep. And then before that, I hadn't played it in easily over a decade. But what was interesting for me was seeing the replayability that's still there.
Yeah,
You can treat it like
holds
any
up
other
pretty
game
well.
where you're going through the different quests in the quest book. Um, what I did find interesting and a little challenging though is Griffin was absolutely brilliant about calling out, not in a bad way, but calling out in a good way some of the rules for clarification. And I never really thought about like how some of those really do need errata written for them.
Yeah,
And there may
yeah,
have been along the way, but given that it's such an old game, you got to kind of make some judgment calls on the fly.
yeah.
Some certain scenarios that aren't explicitly described in the book that could happen. You don't have the potential to do that last night. So that was really cool. I think the fireside chat was okay. We did have a couple little dead air spaces there where I think we kind of rushed through it, or I know I did.
Yeah, I think that week break that we took really kind of threw us off. So,
Yeah, that's so I guess what that means is we just have to stream more, like lots more, like every night more.
oh no,
Not really, but I don't know that we can maintain that. That'd be something else. I don't know how people do that. Like they just get on there and
that'd be difficult.
yeah.
Well, it's like having a full time job if you're a full time streamer.
Well, I would imagine after a while you get used to it and you're able to build up a dialogue if you're playing a game. If you're doing a let's play, you load up something and just start playing and talking to your
Yeah.
followers, your
And I suppose
viewers.
it'd be a lot easier the more people that you have chatting, because it's always easier to carry on a conversation with them than it is to just uh, that. So, yeah.
I wonder though, because like if you're paying attention to playing a game, you know, if you're paying attention to playing a game, how difficult would it be to split your attention between that where you're trying to actually, not die in the video game and then split your attention to the people who are in your chat,
I
you
think
know.
that's a thing that you probably get used to after a while if you've been streaming for quite some time, you know?
Yeah, probably so. You're probably right. Yep, don't doubt it. But for those of you who missed last night's broadcast or live stream, the video is up on Twitch now, so the VOD's up there, video on demand, and I did get a chance to download that and then send that back up to YouTube. So you can check out our YouTube channel, and that's just Black Dragon Tavern Online. So look us up, and we'll put the links out there a little bit later. And last night we did mention that we're setting up a Discord server, so we'll be able to put resources up there and links and images and whatnot. And I did follow up on my word about uploading some images to Instagram. So if folks are looking for eye candy to check out, go to instagram.com/Black Dragon Tavern Online, and then you can find us there. And I just put up a bunch of shots from Cave of the Mounds, which we did last weekend while we had family in town here.
Yeah.
So a couple shots. I did one shot of the Workbench I put up there. It's the one that I used for the this week's event promotion cover on Facebook. So if you were on Facebook on our page and saw that, that's a little snapshot of the paint, my side of the paint bench. Yours was a little bit of a mess, so I didn't want
to. Oh, that's normal for it.
Which incidentally is where I got the title. You're going to need a bigger bench, because holy cow, I can't believe how many things you're acquiring now. Like two new Lehman Rust tanks, and you got all your other Crusade army that you're working on, and I don't even want to venture to guess how many figures you're up to now. So.
I mean, you see, the more you have, the more you can choose from. So it's a strategic thing, really. I'm not just, buying them. That would be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So shove them in a corner somewhere where they sit for 30 years. Who would do that? The humanity.
I don't know, but looking at your side of the bench, you seem to have quite a few that are unopened still, and those have been there for about as long as the
no clue what you're talking about.
Here, so.
So, hey, I know where you live, by the way. That can make things very, very difficult for you. Anyway, so we'll be broadcasting from the Workbench a little bit later on. We've got some projects to work on. I've got a lot of catch up to do on that Fawn Warband that I started. And was just extremely frustrated with how that was gluing up, but I'll save all that for later. Do we have glue? That's a good question. Huh. If we don't, I'm going to have to find something else to do tonight.
Yeah.
Which it's not like I'm lacking for projects to work on, but
You could always work on the cathedral.
Yeah, this is true. I could break that out and paint that up.
It's been a while since you worked on your winter project from last year.
The winter project from last winter. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I see what you're doing there. Guilt tripping me about that.
It is a cool build. I'd want to see
it
it
is
finished.
a cool build, and I mean,
Looks like a
it was
pain in the
like
butt,
3.5 weeks of print time to print all the pieces and assemble it, but yeah, it'll get there. I think part of it was just being depressed about not being able to have in-person games.
Yeah,
and I kind of lost my enthusiasm about painting up models because, what are they going to do other than sit on the shelf, until we can get people here. So
yeah,
but hopefully that'll be soon.
Yeah,
So
get that RPG game back on.
Yeah,
super cool.
Definitely. And once we do that, once we start playing our homebrew game again, I'll take a look at how we can maybe possibly live stream that.
That would be cool.
So we'd have to get everybody's buy off if they're comfortable being on camera, but if not, we boot them and get some new players. Oops, I didn't say that, did I, out loud? That's all right. It doesn't look like Tom's online right now anyway. So.
Jeez.
But anyway, so there were a lot of cool things that I saw in the last 24 hours. It occurred to me I ran around running errands all day today and trying to get things ready. Here at the house, I had things I have to do. And then, again, with your mom being gone at the Wisconsin Golden Gloves tournament, I had to take over most of the stuff around here. But in prepping for tonight's live stream, I saw a story that I thought you might be interested in because you just brought a Blade Runner story to our attention a couple weeks ago about the neon signs.
I remember those, yeah.
Yeah, so
ridiculously expensive.
They were ridiculously expensive, but they were really super cool too.
Were, yeah.
But one of the things that I saw was that there's a new anime series coming out.
Yeah.
And it's called Blade Runner Black Lotus.
I told you about that a while ago, and I don't think you remember, but
No, I really don't.
The director of it is the guy who did Cowboy Bebop.
That's not what I read today. It could be, but
I might have gotten that wrong. He did another series that we really liked. It might have been Samurai Champloo that he did. I can't remember.
I don't remember them mentioning the name of that either. But anyway,
I'd have to look
I
it
saw
up.
the article in I saw it on Gizmo or IO9, and that's kind of been my go-to lately for a lot of these stories in Kotaku. But what's interesting is it's going to be set in LA in 2032, so it happens between the original Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And apparently, this story is from the perspective of a replicant, and her name is Black Lotus.
That's interesting.
And so she wakes up in the city not knowing who she is or where she is or what's going on, and sort of has to find her way around. And in the anime, she looks like a real badass. Now, what's interesting about the trailer itself is the initial fade in kind of has a Blade Runner look. It's got the classic, high rise, high tech, postmodern, futuristic look with spinner cars flying around and whatnot, and it's at night. I wish they would have had it raining. It would have looked a lot closer to the mark, but the deeper it got into the trailer, the more saccharine it felt like, made for, I don't know, I don't want to say like a young crowd, but like it didn't have that same dark, gritty feel to it that Blade Runner movies have.
That's surprising to me because I looked it up and the director, one of the creators of the series, is the same person who did the Ghost in the Shell animated movie.
Right.
All the way back then.
Yep. So now, so they mentioned that in the article that I read.
That's what I was thinking of.
And well, it could be. So they mentioned that, but it had a completely. It looked like it was going to be high action, and it was from the perspective of the replicant rather than the Blade Runner, like Deckard.
Yeah.
And the article, the author of the article mentioned something to the effect of like, oh, and the action is way more than we ever saw from Deckard or Kay, and I was thinking, yeah, but that's not really an apples to apples comparison because they were the hunters, they were the Blade Runners going after the replicants, and this story is from the perspective of a replicant. And further, they made it, the way they wrote it didn't really sound like they paid too close attention to Blade Runner because what was her name? Daryl Hannah's character, was it Kat? And she did all the tumbling and the acrobatics, and there was another replicant in there who, she leapt through like a plate glass window and all kinds of tumbles and ran away, and there was a lot of action in that. The replicants were badass, so it just sort of seemed like it was an attempt at trying to hype this new series rather than like, give proper respect to the movies. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. So that's coming out fall of 2021 on Adult Swim and Crunchyroll. So that's where you want to look for that. Yeah. And then the other cool thing that I saw was this game. We were talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Yeah.
And the medieval games and how this one was more from a peasant's perspective, so it's not fantasy. It's almost like a historical fiction.
Well, it is a historical fiction. Yeah.
I saw a new game that's based in a pseudo medieval setting, but it's set in a medieval ring world.
That's
so
a cool concept.
And I hadn't like I said, I just started getting back into video games again, and I haven't played them in quite a while. So for me to read this article and find out that ring worlds, such as they are, apparently are a big thing in games, and I didn't know that because
Halo popularized them. That's actually, sorry to derail you, but that's actually what Halo, if I remember correctly, I haven't played it in quite a while, but the Halo, or I believe it's just called Halo, was a ring world, but it was like a ring world weapon type thing. Weapon that was on a ring world, something to that degree, but it was interesting. So that's where that got popularized. biggest, or a big part of it at least, in modern games.
Well, so what's interesting is if you go way back, the original
Right?
Ringworld, I believe, was from Larry Niven. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, and that's something I don't know if you grab your phone and look it up, but that Ringworld book and that series were immensely popular, and it's one of the ones that I've never actually read. I think I picked it up and started reading bits and pieces and got sidetracked by the Thieves World universe, and then I wound up buying like every single one of those and going through those like 5 times. I just devoured them because I liked them so much. But anyway, back to this game. So it's called Dice Legacy, and it's a really interesting take on a city builder game where most city builder games you've got people. You have like individual people that are your power the game, and they're your, I hate to say resources because people aren't resources, but they generate resources.
Yeah.
They go out and they mine and they log and they hunt and they fish. So in this one, your dice are your people, and you have to take care of your dice. And so it's literally a 3D representation of a die that represents a peasant. And then you start off with like a certain number of dice, which are your people, and you have to feed them, and you have to let them rest. And they go out and they hunt and they fish and they log and they mine and they build housing, and they start a village. And then you have to be careful every time you roll the dice, because each time you roll the dice they degrade. So they go from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. You can freeze dice in place and lock them so their value never changes. So, for example, if you had dice that were doing foresting and they were, like, let's say they had a value of 4, and I think that equates to every turn they yield 4 shares or 4 resources each for each die. So you'd want to lock those in place so that you're guaranteed every turn to have, 4 times 3 would be 12. 12 wood resources. And then you can actually make baby dice. So what you do is you build a house and you put 2 dice in the house, and then they procreate. And then so, now you've got the little baby die. Mama die, daddy die, and baby die. And I thought that was hilarious. And the best part is there's ham. Did I mention there's ham? There's ham. There's ham. So the way that you allow your dice to rest and recuperate and to gain value instead of decrease in value is you put them in what's called a rest house, like an inn, and they can have ham. So it's kind of funny because they actually had a little avatar of a little plate of bread and ham, and it's interesting because then you got to build.
Weird concept.
It is a weird concept, because you're using dice instead of people. But then it's a lot like a lot of the builder games where you have people come in raiding your village and raiding your settlement, and then you have warrior dice to defend, and you can build walls and you can build upgrades. They've got some limited steam technology, so when the winter comes, you can heat up your village and then keep your resources from freezing, because literally your dice will freeze, like your resource will freeze, and then it can't produce for the winter. So that's effectively like starving you for the winter, But anyway, it sounded really interesting. The graphics look kind of neat, but what got me again was the representation of the ring world. You could actually see as the world went up, and it changed from like an ocean to a beach to the shore, and then a grassy field, and then the village, and beyond that was like a snowy plain and the mountains, and so on ad infinitum. Well, not entirely because it comes all the way back around, but virtually. So anyway, so that's a new one that's going to be coming out in September of this year, September 9th, 2021, from a game company called Raven's Court.
Raven's Court. I've heard that name before.
I don't know. I don't know who they are. I've never heard of them, but I just thought it was really cool. Like a weird concept, and it caught my eye because it was so different. It made me wonder how that would play out on a board. Could you play that out on a board, on a tabletop?
I don't think you could, because there's all sorts of mechanics that go into that. I guess I'd have to see more of the game to be able to say that, because that seems like a very tough concept to work
Well,
out.
I mean, they've got, Catan is another resource building, village building kind of a game, and you've got all the Civ games, Civilization, so I'm sure it could probably be realized somehow or another, and a tabletop came.
Yeah.
But for me, like I said, the coolest thing was just seeing that ring world revolving out in space. So that was pretty neat. What about you? What you been looking at in the last? You kind of took off with Griffin and
Yeah.
went and hung out, did your thing.
So this is not really a new thing per se, but I've been looking more and more into VR games and VR gaming in general. I'm still saving up to buy a VR headset for myself. And one of the games I'm looking at, I think I've told you before, is called Daimyo. It's like DEMIO or DEIMO. And relating to what we played last night, it is effectively online multiplayer Hero Quest VR. Obviously,
That's
can't
cool.
call it Hero Quest because of the trademark laws and all that. But you go through this dungeon. You have 4 classes like fighter, mage, elf, person, dwarf, and everybody chooses a class, and you can actually like it takes place on a board, so you're effectively a floating camera that's looking over a board, and you can move your controller and pick up your model, and you can move it around the board. They have actual dice that you pick up with your controller, and you throw the die to roll it to see like how far you can move and how to do all that. And it looks pretty cool, and it's online multiplayer. So
That sounds interesting.
yeah, it's definitely one I'm looking at picking up.
I was just smirking over here because I was trying to think of like all the different games that have come out that are not you know this brand or are not that brand. What could you call that? Like Champion Adventure. It's not Hero Quest.
Yeah.
You could name it that, not Hero Quest.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't get you around copyright infringement, but still.
Well, if you put Hero Space Quest.
Or Heroes Quests.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
Let's hope Matt isn't in the stream.
So, crazy things of the week.
Yeah.
The cowhide merchant.
The cowhide merchant.
What the actual fuck was that about?
I have no clue. Busiest, what did you call it? Highway, freeway?
Yeah, it's a highway. It's bigger than a boulevard.
That's for sure.
It's like what is it? 4 lanes on each side.
I think so. Yeah, so something like that. One of the biggest, or maybe not the biggest, but one of the bigger highway intersections in the city had a person out just on the side of the road there selling cowhides. He had them all put up on strings hanging out to dry. It was...
Well, I would imagine at that point they were probably already tanned and dried.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on the way to pick up dinner. We're going over to one of the taco joints that I mentioned in last night's stream. A-Rod's Tex-Mex American Grill, for those of you who missed that. Super fantastic food. So we're on the way to pick up this food, and we're on, like Deacon said, one of the major roads here in town that goes across town from literally from the west side all the way to the far east side to Sun Prairie. And this guy is parked on one of the busiest corners with this makeshift like clothesline hitched up in a square, and I'll be damned if he didn't have cowhides. And these were not like fleece. These were not
those were cowhides.
Fake printed. These were real genuine cowhides of all sorts. They had Holsteins, they had, I don't know what the other ones are called, but the solid brown cows. They had, it was amazing. And there's his sign, lo and behold, cowhides. Only in Wisconsin, like in the middle of the capital of the state. Here's a cowhide merchant.
I'm sure you
right
can
in
find
an
it
urban
if you went
setting.
to like Wyoming or some weird place like that.
There may be more around the state. I mean, we have a lot of farms here, but
Yeah.
it's just such an urban area, and there's a major mall right
weird.
there, and
Yeah.
I mean, like just all the different shops and things that are around there. And here's a guy on the corner selling cowhides. I kind of wish we would have stopped, stop in and actually see how much they were, and
I mean, if you need to make leather armor for anything, I suppose that's where you get your leather.
That's crazy. So another
Cow
thing,
hides. All the leather armor you need for your little goblin cave.
yeah, exactly. Line the cave with cowhides. Okay,
Oh,
kids, everybody stand in front of the cowhide and smile.
oh, I was gonna say use it as armor. You could like make some tiny leather helmets out of it.
You probably could punch out quite a bit of those, I would imagine.
Yeah,
The Cub Scouts would love it.
that'd be
Some of them,
fun.
anyway.
That would be a fun badge to try and earn. I don't know if they have a thing like that, but like armor making, try to like make leather armor or something like that, or like I don't
Yeah, I
think you could
don't
get a
think
whole
they
bunch
actually have a badge like that, but the more that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, the more I'm thinking like we need to start our own chapter of the Cub Scouts. We need to come up with like some original name for them and then have our own little cult, I mean our own little
of
gathering of
Yeah.
scouts to do our devious deeds like taking over the world. We could give them that cave exploration badge, little cave explorer.
Give them their world domination badge.
Their world domination badge. There you go. The Goblin Brigade badge. I was part of the Goblin Brigade. Too funny. Oh, another thing I mentioned a couple weeks ago was Love, Death, and Robots Season 2.
Yeah, you've been
So-
watching that lately, haven't you? How's
Well, I
that?
started it. And I've got to get back to that. Life happens, and sometimes you don't
Yeah.
have all the time in the world. But definitely, I think before the weekend's over, I want to squeeze in a couple more episodes. I got to tell you, from what I've seen, I liked season 1 better, I think, than season 2 so far. And I don't know if I watched everything that was available a couple weeks ago for season 2, and I really hope that wasn't it. I hope there were more, because as I started to when I finished it, I went back and I started watching season 1, and I got through like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and there was something weird going on Netflix. Like all the episodes weren't being displayed. So I had to dig a little bit deeper before I found them and realized, like, oh yeah, here are all the other ones hiding back here. So
That's really weird. Wonder
Yeah.
why that happened.
yeah, I don't know. There's been weird stuff happening with our Netflix account, so who knows? But yeah,
So, what has been your favorite episode so far out of season 1? Since I haven't started the second one yet.
well, I think I'm trying to remember the name of it, and this is where I'm terrible with names for these
Oh,
things
you don't have
unless
to
they really
tell me the name of
get
because
cemented
I
in my
can't
head,
remember
but-
them either.
One that really cracked me up is they played it as the first episode, and that's where the 3 robots are going back to Earth, and they're touring
Yeah,
the
and with all the
post-apocalyptic.
cats.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the,
yeah, at the end, yeah.
Mhm.
And so they're basically like tourists, and the one robot discovers that like he's the great grandson of a gaming console. And
Yeah,
they're like
like the
asking about
Xbox or
it.
something
He's
like
like, "You're
that.
holding your granddaddy in your hand." He was pissed off too about it. That was hilarious. It was like the
That-
Xbox
yeah.
4000 or
That
something.
was pretty funny. I did like that
Yeah.
episode.
But I just the one-liners in there and the way that they played off of each other, it was pretty funny. And at the end, like of course they had to pull the cats in, like
Yeah.
yeah, sentient cats now that there was no human race around to pet them. So that was good. There was one in the new season. I know you asked me specifically about the first season, but there was one in season 2 where this guy was on a train and he was going somewhere and the train was going to stop and take a break, and he got out for a smoke and the conductor told him, don't stray away from the train. And they were in the middle of nowhere. There's cornfields all over the place, and I'm immediately starting to think like Children of the Corn kind of scenario, right? So he gets out of the train, he goes to have a smoke, and he starts seeing lights come from different areas in the cornfield. Naturally, what happens? He strays from the train, he goes out into the cornfield, and what it is it's like the souls and the bodies of these zombies that are rising up out of the ground of people who had disappeared or people who were gone, who had just disappeared off the face of the earth or were taken or whatever in this one area. And so now it becomes a struggle he loses his way. He can't find his way back to the train because the corn is like over 6 feet high and he's struggling to see over the top. And then you hear the whistle from the train just stopped. That's what it was. It broke down. It didn't just stop for a break. Um, and so he hears it, and he's trying to find his way back, and now he's panicking, and he's like, and he's like running out of the cornfield, and he gets tackled, and they're trying to the zombies are trying to pull him down and pull him back into the field to basically like devour him. And the conductor comes out, and he's got a torch. He like drives him back, and he saves the guy, and this guy's like terrified, and he's like, "What was that all about?" And he says, "I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they come from, but every time the train breaks down right here." So it wasn't his first time at the rodeo, and he was just so cool and calm about it, and but it was a little tropey in that like you kind of knew something was going to happen, but it was still good. It was just for a few moments, if you could suspend your disbelief, it was enough to give you like a little jump, a little startle, like, no, they're not really going to go there, are they? And then they did. So there were several that were surprising, like the one about the artist with the color blue, and I can't think of the name of the blue.
Yeah, I think that was the last episode of the season.
First season, yeah. And it had a name, and I can't remember the name, but it's something blue. No, it was like something blue. That was the name of it, and that was the name of the blue on the tile in the pool. And the whole evolution of how the artist like went from a robot cleaning pools to this sentient being, that's now a world celebrated artist. And at the end, he's ready to just go back to what he loved, so he gave it all up. That was really, really interesting. Yeah. What I loved about that series was it harkened back to Heavy Metal magazine.
Yeah.
The illustration styles were all different, and they were pretty much, for the most part, all excellent. There was some really heavy-duty 3D CGI in there in some of them, so a lot of the video games that you play where, like, you're looking at the characters and they look all, like real life. Mm-hmm. There was some like that in the first season. They took that to like the nth degree in the second season with one or two of the episodes. The animation looks so real, you can't tell if it was filmed and then overlaid on top of like an animated background, almost like a ultra rotoscopic kind of a thing.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I really liked the episode in season 1. Something Blue was really nice. I liked that one. The other two that I'd have to put up there were, do you remember the one with the freezer?
Yes.
Yeah, the couple that had like the freezer, and the freezer had its own little like universe inside of it.
Yep, and it would evolve every time they'd open the door back up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it was just when they opened the door. I think it was it
was going on continuously, but every time they'd open the door, it would go period. From like Neanderthal, cave people time to the Industrial Revolution in London, around the turn of the century, right before the turn of the century.
And then at the end of it all, they would effectively nuke each other and then start way back over again.
Yeah, and then it went back to the cosmos, to the Big Bang.
Yeah, but I really liked that episode. That was cool. And I liked what a lot of people are calling like the Imperial Guard episode. Do you remember that one? It was the Russian soldiers.
Yes, I do.
That one.
And they were fighting almost like a zombie horde, right? Wasn't it?
Or... They were, everybody calls it the 40K episode because it was effectively like the Imperial Guard fighting the Tyranids. They were these weird, gross alien bug things.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, they looked almost demon-like in that, but yeah, the Russian soldiers fighting... I think it was during the middle of World War II is when it took place. There's a brigade of the Red Army that got sent off to like go investigate what happened to this KGB guy, and they found like all the like what they call like hives or nests for the aliens. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a crazy episode.
That was pretty good.
Really good CGI on that one.
Then there was the freaky one with the guy who went. He had a crew, and they were jumping through like stargates or whatever. And they were going to make their last jump to go home with their payload, and they got lost. But they were like 150 billion light years from their universe. Is that the one where they ended
up in the middle of like some weird like alien?
Yeah, and they were in some weird galaxy where there was this like arachnid creature who controlled everything. It was like a weird AI, alternate reality kind of a deal. Yeah. Yeah, but the animation in that whole series was really excellent. And I was just thinking the other day, like, it would have been great if they would have done, and that went right out of my brain. I was watching something, and I was thinking, like, this could have been so much better if they would have just had, like, the people from Love, Death, and Robots animate this, But I can't think of what that was that I was watching. Yeah. So another thing for Twitch users and Twitch people who have any sort of semblance of or notion that they're going to do any kind of Twitch live stream, um, one of the biggest problems that streamers have, both on YouTube and on Twitch, that we've mentioned numerous times now in the last 24 hours, is DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And right before we got on this Twitch stream, I found the story that I thought was really interesting. And again, this one was on Kotaku under their section on Twitch. And apparently, there's a developer who has created a plugin that's a workaround of sorts for DMCA. And what it is, it's called Spotify Synchronizer. And apparently, it links up your Twitch account and your Spotify account. So you can put this plugin in, and then when you tune in to watch somebody's channel,
it'll tell you what they're listening to.
It'll tell you what they're listening to, and it'll sync it up to yours, and it'll play it, so that you can hear it, but it doesn't necessarily have to play over the stream so that they get the DMCA slap.
That's interesting.
And what it does is it circumvents the music being played on the stream, but like if we had music playing here that nobody else could hear, they would still know that we were playing. This is what we're listening to right now, which in a way is, I don't know. I mean, I still think there's room there for getting your shit taken down.
But at the same time, I still don't think we'd be able to play stuff, because if we play anything over the speakers, then it just gets picked right back up with the microphone. So,
well, that's kind of my point of, like, if you're playing a video game and you've got music playing somewhere, there's always a potential it's going to get picked up, unless you just got it playing through your headset from your phone, or
you can also I'm pretty sure you can have settings in Streamlabs or in OBS to have audio captured from a specific source, like just record audio playing out of this browser, or record it out of Skyrim.exe. So it would just record the noises from Skyrim and from your microphone, not just all desktop noises.
Yeah.
So
again, forgive my ignorance because I don't play games on Twitch, or I haven't yet, but like if you're doing a Let's Play, if you're playing, like, let's say Diablo, like we were playing that the other night, all that music in the background of Diablo, is that all copyright strikeable?
No, and I don't think so, at least, because I think, and I may be wrong, but I think that falls under fair use in the sense of, like, you're playing the game for, well, you're making money off of it if you're affiliated. You're playing the game for entertainment purposes, not solely monetary purposes. Like, you're not selling the music. You're just playing the game, and you so happen to make money off of your stream. And also, I believe generally they don't copyright. They copyright the music, obviously, but I don't believe they strike streamers specifically who are playing their games and have the soundtracks in them. And I could be wrong, but from what I've gathered, it's kind of like a I help you, you help me. Like, they don't strike your channel down and you stream, like, you're streaming their game, which lets more people see their product and say, hey, I want that game, that looks fun. But also, in return, they don't strike your channel for, playing their game. So, and I could be wrong. I could be entirely wrong. I haven't really streamed many games on Twitch either, so.
That sounds like a research project for me. Like, I'm going to have to go on now and watch several streams and people do gameplay, you know.
I know some games lately have been including, like, in the audio options, they'll include a Twitch or a streamer mode, which, like, if they're playing a different copyrighted song in the game, like, you know how Fallout had the radio station where they would play actual songs? A streamer mode would disable copywritten
Copyright.
yeah, copywritten songs not made by the developers. So, like if you're playing a real song in a radio station in a game, it would cut that out, but it would still play the developer's background music, you know?
Interesting. Yeah, I could see where that would be a little bit of a challenge. Like, as you're playing a game, you don't know whether should I just mute the whole music track, or should I just, because I know the games have, Diablo has it for sure. I know there are several games that do. They'll separate the music from the effects or the dialogue. That would be weird to me, though. It'd be like,
where's the noise?
The senses would pick up on it. Like, you would know inherently that something was wrong as you're playing through the game, because it's missing.
Yeah. We've been playing it since 2013 when it came out.
Yeah.
So it's something would just feel off about that. Like something's not.
Yeah, and
right
honestly,
here.
quite frankly, like I played the original when it first came out, and that music is like,
it's catchy.
It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very comforting to me. It's like something I know because I've been playing it for so long, so many years. That if I just shut it off, it would be like, this just doesn't feel right. Playing it without those little jangling guitars and whatnot.
You ready for Diablo 4 when they're going to introduce like the distortion guitars and the synthesizers and all of that?
Yeah. Well, I'll bet you they'll have a take on the original Diablo theme song.
Yeah.
They will. Because like each version has.
Let's do it.
Well, I know you're gonna do it. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I can't even like hum it. It's so annoying.
But speaking of Diablo 4, I can't hold out. I know it's gonna be a ways off, but
you can play Diablo Immortal. You all have phones, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's ridiculous.
That was a big PR screw up.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Oh, I think in everybody's opinion. It did not go over well.
No, not at all. But, they're the ones with the purse strings, so they got the control. They got the money, they got the control. They're going to do what they think is going to be lucrative for them. All I know is once Diablo 4 comes out, totally, it must be mine. Totally going to get that.
I heard... When did you hear that I was going to come out? Because I thought I remembered reading something that was next year. But that seems very soon. I
saw a couple different sources say a couple different things because nobody could nail it down because it's Blizzard.
Yeah,
they never really made an official announcement saying this is the timeline. So it was all speculation.
I would, in a way, I'd prefer that over like Valve time, where instead of saying like, hey, it'll be released here, do you know Valve time?
No.
So, Valve, obviously, they did Half-Life and Portal and also Steam. Mm-hmm. But,
well, they gotta open the valve every once in a while to release the Steam, right? Okay.
So, a lot of companies will, they'll make their games and they'll release it. Maybe they have a delay or two in there, like Cyberpunk had a couple delays.
No.
But Valve tends to take, and they, in their defense, they do make really good games. They come out with a lot of polish, and when they're out, it's taken a while, but they get really good reviews. But there will be 10, 12 years between each of their games.
Mm.
So, like, Half-Life released in... I'm gonna get killed for saying that I don't remember when it released, but it was around the late 90s, like very, very early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And then they announced that Half-Life 2 was coming out, and it did come out in, like, 2010 or 2011 or sometime around then. And then they kept teasing about, like, well, they didn't. They just dropped it there. They were like, they didn't mention Half-Life at all after that. And then, well, aside from, like, episode 1 and 2, but those came out, like, pretty fast. Those are, like, DLC things. And then Half-Life Alyx came out just last year.
Hmm.
Was it last year? It was either last year or 2019. It's a VR game. But yeah, there's like it's like 10 years between each of the games. So I would at least prefer,
That's almost like Kraftwerk's release schedule. They come out with an album every decade or 20 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're not even Kraftwerk anymore, really. They've got
No,
one original member,
yep.
and that's it. Everybody else is relatively new.
Yeah.
The only one original founder. Yeah.
Who's it again? Florian?
Ralph Hutter.
Oh, okay.
Now, Florian Schneider died a couple years ago.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking of.
And sadly, the official Kraftwerk page, the official PR for that, never made any sort of acknowledgement or announcement about it. And fans, they lost a whole lot of fans because of that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there was a falling out, but
that's weird.
You know, even Pink Floyd. I mean, like, there have been so many bands that have had falling out with members, but then if one of the original members dies, like,
make a statement.
Somebody has always made a statement about it. You know, so yep. But a lot of those bands, they're getting up there now. But oh my God! Speaking of, the Rolling Stones are getting ready to do yet another tour. And these guys are like, I'm not talking, they've got to be like in their 80s.
80s or 90s.
I mean, fucking A. Good for them for having the stamina to do that, you know, but
that is...
Oh my God.
That's insane.
It's like, it's amazing is what it is. If they can pull together like that and still rock it out, that's crazy. And good for them. You know, I'm not criticizing them at all. I mean, I think that's fucking awesome, to be honest with you. It's just almost unfathomable, though, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty
but
damn
like
old.
A lot of these bands, they just, you know, they were popular when they were out. But, you know, from everything I've read, like through the 70s, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, you know, I read a lot of magazines like Cream Magazine and Rolling Stone in the early days, and a lot of rock magazines, and these bands got screwed out of so much money over the decades. And now they got their shit together, and they got started their own record labels or their own representation, and they're like, nope, we're not going to take this anymore. We're gonna get what's due to us. We're gonna get our money, you know. So then they started doing new tours, and like, you know, the lion's share of the revenue goes to them, not the people who were saying, yeah, we'll fund your album, we're going to take 90% or whatever, you know.
Ridiculous.
But, you know, so it's good. So this is why a lot of these bands are touring, and you're like, oh my God, what are they, like in their 60s and 70s? You know, but good for them for still rocking out.
Another one, Iron Maiden, they're getting up there too. They're pretty old. Maybe not. I wouldn't say as old.
Is Rob Halford still with them?
He was Judas Priest.
Oh, you said Iron Maiden. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Speaking of getting old in my hearing.
But yeah, Iron Maiden, they're getting up there. I mean, they're not like, I wouldn't say they're as old, but still 60s, 70s, something like that.
I think we still have some Trooper Ale in the game fridge over here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Iron Maiden.
But they are doing, I believe they're doing another tour, and they're just releasing a new album. So that's pretty interesting.
Now, back on the topic of Judas Priest, I did just see them on the lineup. Judas Priest, and I can't remember who else. And it was going to be, I think, like Ministry and a whole bunch of other crazy bands that were like... Now, Ministry's doing another thing. I know I'm bouncing all over the place here, but I'm seeing some stuff these days that I just can't believe it. Like, there were these weird 80s bands that were all sort of like part of the second British invasion, they called it, in the 80s.
I remember that.
The new way. Well, you weren't around
then. I remember you talking about
it. So like in the 80s, you know, they had a new wave and alternative and punk, post-punk actually. So a lot of the punk bands came out of England. Obviously, the Sex Pistols came out of the UK. But then there was this big wave that they called the new wave of all these British bands that came out. And my God, there's so many of them. And they were calling it the second British invasion. Although it's arguable because you had the Beatles in the 60s, you know. They were a British invasion. That may have been actually the first one. Not just the, you know, American War, the war.
It wasn't even an invasion at that point. They were just
War of Independence. Yeah. So anyway, point being, there was this like lineup, and I was looking at it, and then I saw Ministry, and I thought, I wonder, like, obviously they must be okay with it because they're playing their build as one of the bands, but I wonder if it's weird for them because like they say Al Jorgensen hated that early music, and I don't know if he's turned directions on that, like changed his opinion on that because
Yeah.
it did put him on the charts, it did make him a lot of money, you know, but apparently I guess he hated it. Fake British accent and all. We thought it was cool in the clubs. We danced to it, and like I said, I stuck with them all the way through all their old new wave days to, you know, now Filth Pig and all the different crazy stuff they've come out with.
Yeah. Man, shame. Oh, did they postpone their concert to 2022, or did we just miss that? I can't remember.
No, they canceled it. They canceled the
Oh,
one
yeah,
that was
okay.
that we were gonna go to in Royal Oak.
That would have been a cool concert. Although KMFDM had to pull out too because Germany.
Well, that was a big
having-
draw.
Yeah,
I know for you.
yeah, having issues getting their visas over to the U.S. because of the whole pandemic situation. But
Yeah,
what was it?
that's what
Ministry,
impacted.
KMFDM, and what Frontline Assembly?
Yes. Yep. Good memory.
Yeah, I mean that would have been a hell of a concert. That would have been
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Especially because I haven't seen Frontline Assembly since literally since the '80s.
Yeah.
But that was the same thing that impacted Kraftwerk coming over, and that's why their concert got canceled. That was going to be
Yeah.
another one we're going to go see in Chicago.
Well, theirs was the 3D Live concert. I don't think it was actually them. It was like the.
it was
Oh,
them
was
in
it?
concert, and they've got their stage show now is all geared for 3D, and you got 3D glasses you can wear.
Oh, I see.
The graphics and everything are all done like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Of course, they bring the robots with them, so
Yeah.
when they take their intermission, they always play "We Are the Robots," and that's the robots, the mannequins, doing that bit, and then they go off on their intermission, and then they come back, and it's them, and everybody goes crazy. They are really good live too.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Speaking of concerts, Rammstein 2022, right?
Yeah, Minneapolis.
I
So
am.
looking forward to that.
Yep, that's gonna be one.
We were like fat with concert tickets for
we had
2021.
oh,
We were going to
God,
go
we
see
had
like a
like
half a dozen, six or seven,
6 or 7
Yep.
concerts lined
including
up.
the Megadeth VIP tour package.
Dude, Megadeth, New
Yeah,
Order.
and now that's just canceled.
Yeah. Oh, Megadeth got canceled.
Totally canceled. We've been refunded. Yep. So no
That
meeting
sucks.
Dave Mustaine,
Ah, this is a shame.
and they haven't, as far as I know, announced anything about 2022. So I guess we'll see. New Order, Bauhaus, we were going to go
Yep.
see. Bela Lugosi's dead. Peter Murphy's going to be dead soon if we don't catch him soon. I mean, I hate to sound morbid, but again, it's one of those bands where
Yep.
you're getting up there. What else? Like you said,
Rammstein,
Ministry,
oh, yeah.
KMFDM, Frontline Assembly,
Rammstein, although that got postponed.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
canceled.
no, right. So
we
we
are
still have tickets
oh, yeah.
for that.
We
And
are
we do still
still
have
yep.
tickets for New Order, but that's postponed to 2022, September of 2022, I believe, at the, it's not Huntington Bank,
It's
it's not
Milwaukee,
Navy
right?
Pier, no, it's in Chicago.
Oh, it's in Chicago.
Yep.
There's
No, but if they came back to Milwaukee, that would be
that would be
really
so
cool.
cool.
Doing the Summerfest again.
Yeah, it's not one that we originally had lined up, and it's one that I've been bugging you
I
about.
know
for the
what you're
last
gonna say.
couple months now, but Bongzilla, local Wisconsin band. If you haven't heard them, and if you are into metal, very good band. Check them out. But they are playing at the High Noon Saloon out in August. $18 tickets, man.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
Cheap.
We got to see that.
Yeah.
Need some hazmat suits for numerous reasons. With good filters on them.
Yeah.
Especially for you. That's going to be one hell of a show, I can tell you
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But I mean, they'll come back around.
yeah.
There'll be lots of good bands in 2022.
That and Flogging Molly is doing an online concert. I just saw.
Yep.
So, it was them
Well,
and someone else. I can't remember
there
who.
was also I think they were going to do a live concert, weren't they? Didn't I send you
No.
the details on
I
that?
think that was Dropkick Murphys.
No.
No, what?
No,
We'll
I
have to
remember
look
Flogging
that up.
Molly because I was pretty stoked,
Yeah.
and that was another one where I was like, I know Gogol Bordello is going to be here at the Sylvie in the fall.
September. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were a couple of them that I was really kind of like, yeah, you dragged me to like Cannibal Corpse and all those metal shows, which I liked. You
Yeah.
know, now I'm going to drag you to some concerts, which I'm sure you wouldn't have a problem with because it's live music.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't really been a fan of his music that much. Bordello, I can never say it either.
yeah.
But concerts always fun. So
Yeah, and they're pretty crazy live right here. I watched some of their stuff on YouTube, like some of the big festivals they've done, you know, and it's just like insane drinking off the hook, crazy stage diving kind of stuff. I love their stuff. I love their music. It just makes me a little crazy, you know.
yeah.
I can't really listen to it when I drive because then I want to speed, and I can't be doing that. Well, we're
Oh,
just coming up on the
yeah.
top of the hour here, and so I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break, a little 15-minute intermission for those of you who are sticking around with us, and then when we come back in 15 minutes, we'll be broadcasting from the workbench.
Yeah.
And I just have to
So
apologize to our viewers last night. If you watch this VOD later on, if you're not here
yeah.
tonight, we kind of goofed up on one of the scene changes last night. You may or may not notice when we were from the battle zone, we actually we we kept the fireside chat overlay on top of the Twitch stream here. So tonight we'll make sure that we're definitely pulling up the workbench overlay because that's one that has the two cameras.
Yep.
So stick around. We're gonna take a break, 15 minutes, and we'll be back.
Yeah. See you in a bit.
Muted. All right, now we're hot. Welcome,
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Black Dragon Tavern. I'm your host Dante.
I'm your host, Deacon. Please mute your phone.
And just let me turn the sound down on my phone here so we don't get feedback. All right.
All right.
So we're
now
back,
ready to go.
and we're back from the workbench, and we have a little bit of a dilemma tonight. Like, we are running short on glue.
Yeah.
So sadly, we forgot to go and re-up on the glue because we had all kinds of other stuff going on. But
it is very sad since we're both assembling things by the look of it.
yeah, well, that's what happens. I can putter around and just kill some time and work on some other stuff. But we'll have to share this one container of glue here.
Yep.
So I'm going to be working on this Fawn Brigade again, trying to maybe do some Centaurs tonight and some Satyrs. My big holdup, like I mentioned last time, was getting them to actually stick to these bases, because the plastic that these are cast in is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And I'm not super happy with how the glue takes to it. What are you working on over there?
I am working on fixing up this old Lehman Russ that I got on eBay. I'm not quite sure how well this will pick up here, but it's in a pretty iffy condition. There are lots of things that need to be fixed up, but I think it'll be a fun project, and it was only like $15, so it was definitely worth it rather than paying however much it is for the new one. So hoping to
That's Lehman Russ
yeah.
number 2 for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You are correct.
Yeah, where's the other one?
It is upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Grab that, show it off on camera.
Yeah, you should have brought it, but that's okay. You don't have to. Maybe if you want to run up there, but if not, not a big deal. You're waiting on sponson guns for that one, right?
I am, yeah. So this came without the sponsons. So I ordered some of those on a bit shop online, and now I'm just waiting for them to show up. However long that will take, shipping from France. So.
Oh, wow. It's coming from overseas?
Yeah. I was a bit scared for a minute that I'd gotten scammed because the confirmation email and that came all in French.
Oh. Well, wait a minute. But you were just taking French, weren't you? Or isn't that something you want to take?
Not enough. Well, I took a year of it, but not enough to be able to read all that, you know?
All right. Well, I guess I thought you were further along than that. I know the German class is the one where you were
Deutsch.
excelling. I've got to change this blade. This broken tip and dull edge. It's not working for me at all. Actually, I should see if I've got anything here before we go through all that. Yeah, here we go.
Now that is a pretty cool piece.
What's that?
Oh, let me show you here in just a second. I want to make sure it doesn't pop off. This is actually a curved piece that I had to push into place and flatten it down, but it's that black piece on the very back of there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's got the little wings and the skull on it.
Little banner.
Yeah.
So.
That'll be cool once you get that painted up.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can see that.
I won't be able to pick up.
Worth a try.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't, somebody like Tom would say, you should have shown what it looked you're talking about. Just kidding, Tom. We love you. I hope you're out there. Hope you're doing all right. We got to get Tom and Pam back over here.
We do.
Around the table. Everybody's chomping at the bit to game again. And he's got his stuff going on. So he asked me the other day if we were going up to Noble for 40K.
I want to, but I don't know when we'd find the time. Also, it's a pretty big group now.
Yeah, I'm sure we could always find a table, but it seems to me like for you at least, you don't get out of work till 6.
Yeah, and that's after it's already started.
Yeah, it's already at that point. So you'd have to show up late and hope to get some table space.
Yep.
And then hope you could find somebody to get matched up with.
Yeah.
That's a cool little... I think I'm going to save that. Alright. New blade. Achievement unlocked. Do we... We don't have any... You don't have any masking tape over there, huh?
No, I thought we had some in here, though.
No, I think I put it back over on the other bench. On the other side. That's alright, I'll just... do some makeshift.
What are you doing? Oh, I
Just
see,
wanna-
yeah.
Protect this, cover this up just so that it doesn't
Oh, sure thing.
stab somebody, or, you know. There's probably a better way to do this, but
Yeah. So I still haven't found that machine gun that I was looking for. And now
That
it's really...
bit?
Yeah. Now it's really starting to get on my nerves, so...
that's a shame.
Yeah. It was a great looking piece, too.
Well, I'm sure you've got it.
My worst fear is that I've accidentally, like, thrown it out, swept it off the table, something like that.
That's entirely possible. Given the amount of crap that goes flying off of your workbench at any given time. Huh, okay. Got some... Oh. I see.
Ah, there it is.
Alright, well, let's see. Can you see that glue, please?
Sure thing.
I think you're up this time for buying the glue supplies, right? Because of all the use that you've been putting it to.
Am
Yeah,
I?
including
That's a
taking
shame.
mine.
Sure.
So if you're just tuning in for the first time to the Black Dragon Tavern, I endeavored to build some of these Satyr models a couple weeks ago on our stream, and it didn't go so well. In fact, I got one model built, and it kept coming off the base. So Deacon recommended, "Why don't you put some cork on there?" And I put it on like a champ. I put it on. I mean, not like I put it on like I was a champ. I put it on like a champion figure. She's standing on the base there, up higher than I would normally have a figure mounted. But Deacon and I both agreed, yeah, she could be a leader. He was talking about propping the back of the hooves up with cork on the base, which unfortunately I don't think is going to work. But I do know what would work, Deacon, and
What's that?
that would be green stuff.
That's a very good idea.
And that is probably the direction I'm going to ultimately have to go. Now, okay, this is interesting. So for the satyrs, they have female presenting
Mind
torsos.
if I grab that glue?
No, not at all.
Awesome.
They have torsos with boobs that have like a strap, a bandage, not bandage, but like a cloth across them. And then for the centaurs, they have straight up naked boobs. wonder why the decision to do it that way. Such cool weaponry. The satyrs will be fun to put together.
Will they be fun to put together? I seem to remember you having quite a struggle with it last time.
Centaurs. I'm sorry, I meant centaurs.
Ah, that
I've
makes more
got
sense.
bases for them that are a little longer, and I'm hoping that see, these look like they're going to be easier, at least because these have a flat
Multiple.
base
Oh, they
that can be
do.
mounted on another one.
That's
So-
okay. Yeah, that's so much better.
And then I can just green stuff some, 2-part epoxy around the base and make some mud and earth and all kinds of fun stuff.
All right.
Carbonation. Joy.
Hmm?
I said carbonation. Joy.
From your soda.
Yeah, I'm getting the burps.
Man, whoever painted this, so this was painted, and it was, I think, pretty obviously stripped of the paint. But,
I said, oh, so it was like the double whammy.
yeah. I'd actually consider that a plus, because no offense to the person who painted this last, but some of the paint here is pretty thick. Like, I'm pulling off pieces of paint here that are like the paint chips that get left in the bottom of the palette.
Like craft paint?
No, like,
I mean, like craft paint quality rather than like a good,
no, just
Vallejo
put on
or
very
GW
thick.
or. Huh. See, Tim DeShanes would be proud of me.
Yeah.
And I should just be respectful of my Spanish heritage and pronounce it like it's supposed to be Vallejo, but it's just so easy to say Vallejo,
Yep.
and that's how it happens. The whole decline of civilization. The whole world goes to ruin.
And people saying their name is Castillo.
Can you get my glue? You should probably just keep it right in the middle,
That's
right
a
there.
smart idea.
The lovely people of the Twitchverse are probably like, why don't these jackasses just get another bottle of glue? It's not that expensive.
It's very cheap. We just keep forgetting.
Well, he goes through glue like I go through soda. And unfortunately, if I've got a container of glue around here, I might just have to lock it up. Because Mr. Deacon will be all over it. But it's all good. What's mine is yours. Now, I wonder...
Even your wallet?
Someday it will be. I wonder how I'm supposed to mount those on this model. Now those paint jobs aren't very good. Those paint jobs aren't very good. Very low quality images or very, very bad paint jobs or both.
I think they're good paint jobs. I would just say it's like a low quality image.
I think I can do better. Oh, I know what it is. They've put a filter on it.
Have they?
Yeah, it's like a brushstroke Photoshop kind of a filter. I know because
Let me
I've got
see.
it. I've got it on my Photoshop.
Yep. I can totally see that.
Yep. Because the sculpts are nice. There's a lot of detail in them. The castings are nice. There's a lot of detail that came out in the castings. There's not much that, they went super smooth on. I'm gonna give her this. Well, this is neat. You know what they have on the sprue here? They have a little thank you message. Thank you to War Games Atlantic and our Kickstarter backers.
Oh, War Games Atlantic, yeah. Is that who made those?
Well, the name of the company is RGD Gaming. It looks like RGD Gaming LLC out of Tacoma, Washington.
So, War Games Atlantic makes minis. Obviously, they're a mini company. But, they make, in my research, or what I've found, some of the only plastic World War I infantry. So they make German infantry for World War I games out of plastic. And I have not seen any other World War I minis in plastic. Or, well, not in like 28 mil scale at least.
Yeah, I would imagine they're probably a little more difficult to find.
Yeah. World War II ones get a lot more common.
Right, what you'd probably wind up with is a boatload of World War II stuff available on the market, but not a lot for World War I. Okay, again with the weird neck sculpture things.
I'm thinking on this one, this tank here, gonna have like a decal that says Catachin there. And then over here, I'm gonna have one of those like smile for the flesh or whatever they paint on the side of the turrets. Up here, though, I got track armor.
Huh. Let's see. I wonder if that one's sculpted the same way. So very strange.
So I'm not really sure. Oh, that's annoying.
What's that?
Well, I put some glue on this piece here, and it immediately flew out of my hands, and both of my fingers landed right where I put the glue.
Glue your fingers again?
Yep, like normal.
Like normal.
I seem to do it quite a lot.
Yes, indeed. That's likely what's going to happen here as I try to glue this. Oh, this is so fiddly. I can see where you would glue it on here, but my God, that's such a weird.
There's a little bug flying around down here still. It's right here. It's kind of annoying.
Glue, please.
1 sec. Sorry, you caught me like right as I'm using it. There you go.
Well, tomorrow's Sunday. We can run out and grab a tube or 2 or 6.
That's true.
Really kind of weird.
I can file these bits down, I guess.
But okay. I'll try it.
Thank you. That is okay.
How's that going?
Very slowly.
Kind of the same way mine is.
This tread armor is a pain in the butt to put on.
More so than like other vehicles you worked on that are GW.
Yeah, because these are an optional piece, and they have very tiny contact points right on the edge of the track. So, if you see, the treads are here, and they glue onto these, like, there's a little bit here, and there's a little bit there. You see it right on the side.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, I
course.
mean the tank.
Oh, the tank.
Yes.
Sure thing.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Fiddly.
Very.
Yeah. Thank you. These pieces are so delicate. It's like I want to get in here and shave off the flash and the contact points where they were adhered to the sprue.
You don't want to risk breaking it.
Yeah, and I've just got to be super careful.
Which side is the bottom? That side.
I hear a kitty.
I think one of the cats is outside the game room right now.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Or who knows, she might have found a way to open the door.
We have We have two kitties. We have Pippin, who's our boy, and he's a little bit of an asshole. He's a sweetheart, but he's a bully. And then we have Zuzu. She's much younger than Pippin. Pippin's like 9 or 10 now, and Zuzu is going on 2 years old. And she's a little sweetheart. She's my baby. And he is not very happy about her being here because she came in at a time when one of our other cats was on his way out. He was dying. So I think it freaked Pippin out a little bit, but she can't understand why she's not in the game room while Daddy's streaming. So I feel bad. And I guess we could let her in here, but she has a tendency to jump on everything, so that means she would knock soda over, she would knock paints over, you name it.
Should knock cameras over.
Yeah, she probably would. They're anchored down pretty well with the tripods though, so
Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, so I'm
But I
starting
don't want to give her that
see-
opportunity to try to prove herself though, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we'll pass on that.
I'm starting to see some of the areas why... I'm starting to see in some of the areas, I should say, why I'm struggling a bit with this. Looked like he put texture paint on some parts of the tank.
Oh wow.
Like, you know that a grill and earth that I have, that crackle paint?
Yeah.
There's some of that on there.
Oh, I
So maybe he has a better
see.
painter than I thought.
Okay. So they kind of went GW on some of these. Like the weapon haft will have the primary hand that's holding it, and then they have this second hand holding it down below, and then you've got to find the arm that's missing the hand. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Do they not have, like, labels on the pieces?
no,
Okay, that sucks.
no, it was super cheap for like what did I say, 24 minis. They're at roughly, you know, $1 and some change a piece. But this is going to be challenging because I got to glue these right.
Glue up the weapons?
Well, the positioning.
Yeah.
Because if I get the positioning of the arms wrong, they won't be able to hold their weapons appropriately.
Yep.
So here we go. Prepare for cursing and rant in 3, 2.
Just glue the arms wrong?
No, I actually got it right out of the gate first time.
Glue not stick.
but then I bumped it.
Ah. That sucks.
This is truly. Alright. Not terrible.
Oh, and you got them glued to the base.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you out in Twitch can see that or not, but yeah. It's just more work than I think it's worth. You know, like WizKids probably. I could have bought a pack or two of those and probably been happier than a pig and shit.
Yeah, but you get to make stream content with these.
It's true. But with the other ones, I could have been painting by now. And I just broke the glue bond again.
On the feet?
No. No, surprisingly, those are sticking. It's the this arm and weapon that are giving me a little bit of grief.
Should work on a different one. Come back to that. Let them, like, really let them dry.
Well, that's
Do you mind if I use that glue real quick?
If I could get the arm back in place.
Yeah.
Because now it's completely off and it's flying all over the
Hold on.
place.
I'll be right back. Oh. Never mind. It's right here.
Trying to find your soda.
Mm-hmm. Could not remember where I left it. And I gotta check.
Alright, now I'm going to take your advice. Now that I got it glued back in place, I'm going to leave that be.
Yep.
Still intrigued by this weapon. I think we decided this was not an ADZ, right? Addle might be the other one I was thinking of.
I don't know.
I think it's just ATL. Which, incidentally, I think is the abbreviation for Atlanta, Georgia. That's not good.
What's up?
My X-Acto knife, the blade's bending all over the place.
That is not good. No, you're right.
So those of you tuning in for the first time, we're the Black Dragon Tavern. Your host Dante,
I'm Deacon, like I said earlier.
and I was mentioning earlier in the first segment of the show, Fireside Chat, how I posted up some stuff to Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, check us out at Black Dragon Tavern Online on Instagram. Got some cool pics of the game room up there. Just posted an image of the Workbench. We'll get some more stuff. We didn't really, we talked a couple weeks ago about putting some pictures of the images that were pictures of the miniatures that we're working on, but I don't think we got around to that.
No, we never really did.
And there's so much stuff to photograph, so many different things, but if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, shoot us a message in the chat or contact us on the socials and let us know, and we'll definitely post more of that stuff up there. You know, if I get enough of these done, I think this would make for a really good little forest war party, and I can do that big fantasy forest that I always wanted to do. Break out some of that crazy terrain that I have.
Oh, like all the mushrooms and that kind of stuff. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see that stuff on the table.
I ran one for you when you were a kid, but you probably don't remember. Can you have the glue, please?
Oh, shoot.
I'll be done with it real quick.
You know, like, you know when to say just as I'm about to grab it.
I used to be a waiter.
Mm.
Know how to ask you how you're doing right when you shove a big load of food in your gob. It's a gift.
It's quite apparent.
I don't know what it is about sitting here. Maybe it's these glasses on the bridge of my nose, or maybe it's the fact that you get the fan on drying the air out, but I always go super stuffy when we're sitting here like this.
Weird.
It could be moldy over here too.
Yeah. Trying to look at the computer to see if that makes a difference in the audio. It does, but it's so very slight.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I mean, on the playback, we can check it out.
Yeah. And barely anybody's watching this episode, so it's
That's
not the
all
worst
good.
thing in the world.
We could get 1 million views on YouTube for all I know. Watch Dante slice his thumb open on a live stream.
Oh, did you do that?
No, almost. That's a brand new blade, so I'd rather do it with a new blade than an old one.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't do that with this fucking rusty one.
Cut a lot cleaner. Alright, can I see the glue? Please keep it here in the middle.
You see, the problem was, again, I was keeping it in the middle until I needed it, which was right then.
Let's see. Bow. Axe. Javelin. Wow, that's a crazy looking weapon. Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what do I have? What do I have out here?
Yeah, let's do a bow.
Breaking into this little tub of bits now.
Wow, the positioning of some of these parts is crazy because if you cut it the way that it looks on some of them, you cut half the arm off. Not half the arm, but half the shoulder socket.
Hmm.
Then
Well,
you got nothing to mount it with. Need to charge my lamp.
Do you?
Yeah, my headlamp.
Yeah.
Little snag right there. You know what's funny is, you know what you were talking about earlier, like when you're like, I want to whistle so badly. Yeah, I kind of have that same thing. I've got a song stuck in my head, and it's like I want to hum it so badly or whistle it. But if I do, I know you would immediately start whistling it, and that would just be bad.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd ask what song it is because I'm genuinely curious, but I know that if you tell me, I'm gonna start whistling it too.
You'll sit here 5 minutes later, you'll be humming it.
That was a bit too close.
There.
It's all Tyranid bits. That's not.
Every time you knock that tray, I swear to God, it sounds like pieces are just flying out of it. I know they're not, but
I wonder if I put it in here on accident.
you're still looking for that gun?
Yeah. Yep. I found it online on the site where I got the sponsons from, but it was out of stock. I would have gotten it if it was still there. It was only like... oh, shoot, I can't remember. It was cheap. It was like 30 cents, I think. But...
What do you think? Should I do just an arm? Look at a right arm with nothing in it, or an arm holding a spear for this one.
I'd go with like one holding nothing. And if you're really in the mood for a bit of a challenge, you could try to like find a small piece of brass wire or something like that. Some sort of like very thin thing, like a paperclip even, and cut a very like tiny sliver of that down like an arrow. You know?
I might even have arrows. And the hand is formed so that it could hold a spear or something. So that's not that far-fetched.
Well, still have not found the machine gun. Pain in my assholes, as he would say. But found this cool double jerry can here.
Great success. This is an odd pose for this arm. Okay.
This is stupid. I've got the spruce here. I can just look at those. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to use this weapon on there, and then I realized I probably have a version of that in better condition that I can use. Might as well use that. If I can find it, of course. And that's the tricky part. Is digging through the mountain of sprues that I'm now going to be putting up on my bench. Oh, I could use this one again. Why not? Perfect. That works out great.
Well.
Turns out the machine gun that I put on the last Lehman Russ I got, I have a second one. Same thing. So,
That's cool.
yeah, I can put that on there, keep the consistency.
Why isn't there one of those on this? I wonder. So, from what I'm seeing, there are two sprue types. One is clearly well, I'm trying to think of how to say this without offending anybody.
What are you talking about?
So these sprues, they're broken into they're binary. Okay, they're when you look at them, they look like they're binary gender. Okay, they're either a man or a woman satyr, like presenting, right? There's boobs on one and masculine torso on the other one, and all the arms for the feminine appearing models are slender. So the arms are slender to fit to the torso, but then the other ones are sculpted bigger and more muscular, and they look like maybe they would fit on the other torsos, but they've got this really cool arm holding an arrow. But it looks like if you try to match it up with one of the other torsos, it would stick out like a sore thumb because it's like you'd have one slender arm and one super bulky arm.
Yeah. Well, did you look?
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now. Well, that kind of sucks because that's a huge difference.
It does suck.
Oh, excuse me. My apologies. That's what I get for staying up too late last night.
Speaking of late, it is 10:07.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Have we gone past the 10 o'clock mark for the...
Only by a few minutes.
Well, what do you think, my friend? Should we call it?
Probably. Stream ran quite a bit late last night, almost an hour late. So...
I'm okay with that because we were playing a game. Frankly, I wish we would have finished it.
Yeah. Oh,
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll wrap it up here.
Let me glue this one piece on real quick. All right.
Got it all glued?
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Great success.
All right, so that's stream number
Yeah,
4.
stream number 4 down and pretty soon in the can, so to speak. So thank you everybody for tuning in. For those of you who were there, thank you for supporting us. If you're new to the stream and you just tuned in tonight, make sure to hit that follow button. We super appreciate it as we try to build our community here on Twitch.
It's very helpful.
And if you're looking for some eye candy to look at to keep you busy, check out our Instagram feed. That's Black Dragon Tavern Online on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, the handle at @tavern_black. And check us out on Facebook as well if you're on Facebook. And that's simply facebook.com/Black Dragon Tavern. So be sure to tune in.
One more thing for the social media, we will be posting. We will be posting an invite link to the Discord server on all the social media. So be sure to keep an eye out for that if Discord is a thing that you are interested in.
Absolutely. So if you're following us on one of the social channels, definitely keep an eye out for that. We'll try to broadcast that to as many different places as we can without getting overly spammy. But check us out next week. We'll be here next Friday from 8 p.m. Central to 10, and then also on Saturday. And then we'll post up an agenda of what we're going to be doing a little bit later in the week. In the meantime, thank you all and have a good night.
Yeah, good night.